Breaking news tonight. Executive action. The president goes around Congress to extend some unemployment benefits. And the new payroll tax holiday. What it means for you. Super spreader fears. What could be the largest gathering since the pandemic began. Hundreds of thousands of bikers expected in a tiny South Dakota city. While in 2 other states, hundreds of kids in quarantine after students tested positive just days after school started. Delay of game. A major college football conference cancels its season as students return to campus across the country this weekend. At one college, students already suspended for violating quarantine. Uprising in the streets. Deadly clashes between protesters and police in Beirut. Demonstrators demanding action after that massive explosion this week. The secret visit to Joe Biden. Michigan's governor meeting one-on-one with a former vice president as Biden teases the media with this.
Have you picked a running mate yet? Yeah, I have.
And the big winner, the woman who won the lottery, then gave it away to help an injured police officer. What his colleagues did in return.
This is NBC Nightly News with Jose Diaz-Balart.
Good evening. We begin with breaking news. President Trump bypassed Congress today, signing executive orders offering relief for millions of unemployed Americans, including an extra $400 a week. That's $200 less than what it was previously. It also includes action to defer payroll taxes, which could have an immediate impact on most Americans' paychecks. But there are questions tonight about whether the president has the legal authority for these actions. This comes as the U.S. passes 5 million COVID cases today. We begin with Kelly O'Donnell traveling with the president.
Today, from his Trump-branded private club, the president conducted White House business.
Thank you.
Executive action to provide COVID-related financial relief.
I'm taking executive actions and provide relief to the American workers.
With the power of the pen going around Congress. Today, the president set a new enhanced weekly unemployment benefit, but at a lower rate than the $600 that expired.
Sir, why did you decide on $400 when previously families were receiving $600?
Yeah.
That will be a hardship for many. What do you say to them?
Well, no, it's not a hardship. This is the money that they need. This is the money they want, and this gives them a great incentive to go back to work.
Among the other new orders, defer payroll taxes through the end of the year, extend the eviction moratorium, defer student loan payments, and forgive interest. However, Congress controls government spending, so the president said he expects legal challenges, which could slow things down. He also used today to campaign against Joe Biden.
Biden is totally controlled now by the Bernie Sanders left wing of the party.
For a second straight day, the president invited club members to watch his news conference and jeer the media. Friday, members did not keep a social distance and most did not wear masks initially until some were provided. More were passed out today.
Kelly, how quickly could these benefits reach Americans?
Well, Jose, the president could only say very soon when he was talking about the enhanced unemployment benefits, and that is in part because states would have to pay part of the cost. That could be another hurdle. He also argues that because of the urgent need to get this money in people's hands, it may be a reason to make it politically harder for Democrats to sue him over these authorities. Jose?
Kelly O'Donnell in Bridgewater, New Jersey, thank you. As COVID cases in the U.S. pass the 5 million mark, a small city in South Dakota is getting a lot of attention this weekend for hosting a massive rally that some fear could spark a new outbreak. Kathy Park reports from South Dakota.
The largest motorcycle rally in the world, packing Sturgis, South Dakota during the pandemic.
You got to do it. There's not a reason not to.
It could become the largest public gathering since the start of the outbreak. Hundreds of thousands are expected. Masks are encouraged but not required, keeping with state guidelines. Many choosing to go without one.
You just be careful. You can't not live life.
Despite the state's low number of reported cases, a majority of the town's residents wanted the rally canceled, concerned about a super spreader event.
I think it's pretty selfish that the powers that be didn't stop this, or at least try to stop it. And I think that there's going to be some serious consequences.
Consequences of the pandemic already being felt at schools across the country as students start returning to class. The largest school district in Georgia is now dealing with the fallout of an outbreak. More than 250 students and 8 teachers in quarantine after at least 11 students and 10 staff members in Cherokee County tested positive for the virus. In a letter, the superintendent warning, we have students and staff reporting presumptive, pending, and positive COVID-19 tests every day, and this will continue as we operate schools during a pandemic. Parents in the district overwhelmingly wanted their kids back at school.
I work night shift, so I'm a 911 dispatcher and I work night shift, so working overnight 12 hours and coming home and trying to teach digitally it wasn't feasible for us.
And just a week after schools reopened in Corinth, Mississippi, 6 students and 1 staff member were COVID positive, sending at least 100 students into quarantine. College sports also taking a hit. The Mid-American Conference becoming the first collegiate conference to postpone all fall sports, including football. Back in Sturgis, worries over what may happen after all the visitors roll out.
And Kathy joins us from Sturgis. Kathy, is the city taking any coronavirus precautions?
Well, Jose, there are hand sanitizing stations that have been set up all along Main Street here, and crews are out here each and every night of the event disinfecting the streets as well as the sidewalks. And the city will be offering free testing to residents 1 week after the rally wraps up. Jose?
Kathy Park in Sturgis, South Dakota, thank you. It is down to the wire for Joe Biden's big decision on a running mate. It could come next week. And today we got surprising new clues as to who may be on the short list. Olive Vitale reports.
Have you picked a running mate yet?
Biden on a bike ride in Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, stoking speculation about his pick for vice president.
Yeah, I have. You have? Who is it?
Who is it?
You.
Kidding aside, the choice is crucial to Biden's campaign, and Democrats are eager for a decision. Democratic sources telling NBC News Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer met with Biden for several hours last weekend. Eagle-eyed aviators spotted flight records of a private plane flying from Lansing to Delaware.
You've got a nominee who's trying to vet a running mate as carefully as possible to make sure that there are no surprises. And at the same time, you've got a nominee who wants to make an announcement that catches everyone by surprise. He doesn't want to be scooped.
Tinted windows on motorcades outside Biden's house and public speculation about other in-person interviews. Just a few hallmarks of the ever-secretive process.
Probably no more than I do.
A source familiar with the process tells NBC News Senator Kamala Harris and former Obama National Security Advisor Susan Rice are in the final round of consideration, as well as Senators Elizabeth Warren and Tammy Duckworth.
Every one of the women we've interviewed is qualified, and I've narrowed it down.
The timing for a pick has changed repeatedly, but sources say it could come by the middle of next week or sooner. Still, the campaign teasing a fundraiser for donors with Biden and his Veep, whoever she is.
Ali joins us now from Washington. Ali, is there at least one firm deadline Biden is up against for the decision?
There is, Jose. Biden has blown past a few of his own self-imposed deadlines for this choice, but the Democratic National Convention is only 9 days away, and he'll need to make a pick before then. Jose?
Olive Vitale in Washington, D.C., thank you. Overseas now to Beirut, and violent clashes as protesters demand answers from the government following this week's massive, deadly explosion. Matt Bradley reports.
Tonight, Beirut boils with rage. The explosions that destroyed Lebanon's capital now threatening to topple its leaders.
We're going to keep on fighting. Even if it takes a lot, we will keep on fighting.
Thousands of protesters confronting police, even taking over the foreign ministry building. Police firing back with tear gas and rubber bullets. The protesters want a new government and severe punishment for officials who let nearly 3,000 tons of ammonium nitrate sit in the city center for nearly 7 years. When it ignited Tuesday, it killed more than 150 people in one of the largest non-nuclear explosions in history. Others just here to help clean up, but even this is a kind of protest against an absent government.
We are taking our destiny into our own hands. We do not believe in this government anymore.
Most Lebanese politicians are avoiding the wrecked neighborhoods, but ITV News' Emma Murphy spoke to the country's prime minister at the port.
Are you afraid of people's fury?
I'm not afraid of people's fury, but of course...
but do they have a right to be furious?
Absolutely, they have the right to be angry and furious.
An anger that's beginning to look a lot like vengeance. Matt Bradley, NBC News.
For months now, millions of Americans have been out of work due to the pandemic. Each day brings a new challenge, a difficult decision to make. And for months now, we've been following 3 unemployed Americans. Steve Patterson has their stories.
Every day, Kenesha Mayweather inches closer to her breaking point. The only currency she has in abundance right now, faith.
I do a lot of praying. I think about my kids. They need me. I've broke down plenty of nights thinking, what am I going to do?
We first profiled Mayweather back in June when Black Americans were facing their highest unemployment rate in a decade. Mayweather, who lives in Atlanta, felt forced to quit her job in April, afraid of exposing her 3 children to COVID.
I feel sad because I can't provide for my kids like I normally would.
Mayweather's eldest daughter diagnosed with a rare form of cancer, her youngest breathing problems.
If I don't have to take them out, I will not take them out.
And just last week, another devastating blow.
Right now, I just received the email that I was getting my last check.
That additional $600 the federal government had given to unemployed Americans like Mayweather, gone.
Don't know how I'm going to continue to pay my bills. I'm going to have to borrow, I guess, and hopefully everything gets paid.
In Brooklyn, New York.
So it's been 141 days since I have been out of work.
Stacey Davis lost her job back in April when New York was the epicenter of the pandemic.
It's becoming very, very frustrating, very alarming, and just very scary.
She's since been searching for work, and the loss of that extra $600 could mean Davis will need to make drastic changes.
How much longer can you sustain this before you may have to make that change and go back or figure out something else?
About another 2 to 3 months. And then that's it.
Good morning, everyone. This is Victor. A morning diary of how I start my day.
For the first time in his adult life, human resources executive Victor Patterson was laid off.
Oftentimes, my day started with LinkedIn.
NBC's Morgan Radford spoke to Patterson in the beginning of the summer and several months into his job search. Since then, Patterson has been locked in an uphill battle.
And you don't have anything tangible to say to your wife or significant other that makes them feel like you're closer. It's tough.
He's been spending 12 hours every day searching for the next opportunity. But his hard work paid off.
Have you had any luck out there?
I was able to land a global HR director for an organization that is looking to grow well beyond its current revenue position.
Proof that through perseverance, anything is possible.
It's a battle of your mind.
An example of hope during this pandemic.
There is a shining light at the end of this dark cloud.
And never losing faith. Steve Patterson, NBC News.
Up next, risky return, the extreme measures at colleges to keep campus COVID-free as students go back this weekend. One of the biggest challenges during the COVID crisis, how to bring college students back to campus safely. This weekend, many universities are welcoming students back, but parents are dropping their kids off to a very different campus experience. Blaine Alexander has more.
From the University of Kentucky to Tulsa's Oral Roberts University to Troy University in Alabama. Starting this week, it's move-in day at dozens of college campuses nationwide.
After quarantine, I'm so excited to be in a new environment. I was home for 4 months.
At Georgia Tech, a staggered return, rooms reconfigured for more single-dwelling options, and a new app where students can sign up for meal times or order to go.
Any concerns as you drop them off?
Well, I'll tell you, not really, because I believe that everything's been kind of addressed here at Tech.
At Duke University, students are greeted with COVID tests. This fall, only freshmen and sophomores will be housed on campus.
This is a difficult but a necessary decision.
And at Notre Dame, where classes start Monday, the school's president says all students will be tested before returning.
We'll continue to test them. It's critical that we monitor their health, everybody's health.
But even with precautions, there are some issues. At Iowa State University, 66 students tested positive for COVID during move-in. The school has set aside space on campus to isolate them. And at Syracuse, a group of students placed on interim suspension for breaking the school's mandatory quarantine.
University of Notre Dame here.
Back in South Bend, as students return to campus, some are already raising concern.
So far, socially distancing seems not great.
Rising junior Miguel Hoke is so worried about contracting COVID, he's taking a leave of absence. His virtual learning application denied.
I don't want my son sick. I don't want him getting anyone else sick.
Even Notre Dame's president is facing some criticism after posing for this picture with students, masked but not distanced. He later apologized.
I made a mistake.
Officials say despite their best efforts at prevention, there are measures in place should COVID come to campus.
We're going to do everything possible to keep them safe. And what we're telling them also is tell your sons and daughters to act responsibly.
College campuses coming back to life as students prepare to face a new reality. Blaine Alexander, NBC News, Atlanta.
Still to come, the link between where you live and how heat affects your health. Plus, a gift from the heart. What this woman gave to a policeman in need and the amazing gift his colleagues gave in return. We are back with our Inequality in America series. Tonight, those sweltering temperatures across the country and the profound health impacts the heat has on lower-income inner-city residents. And Thompson reports.
Give me a hand. For Deshia Moody, mother of two, Baltimore's hot summer days are miserable.
Opening your front door causes a lot of heat to come at you.
She lives in a 7-room row house with just one small air conditioner.
We can't sit anywhere else in the house because it's too hot and the fans don't work.
A predicament all too common in America's poor urban neighborhoods. A recent study of 108 cities found 94% had temperatures as much as 12.6 degrees higher in areas that were once redlined, where home loans and insurance were denied based on race.
We had highways that were built through those communities that fragmented them. So you had no services, poor housing quality, meaning you may not have air conditioning, and then you had a lot of asphalt and concrete,
creating urban heat islands nationwide that can make health problems like diabetes and asthma much worse.
High temperatures are not just a nuisance, they really can be a health risk. They can absolutely be life-threatening.
Sean Mussenden helped lead a study at the University of Maryland showing how dramatically Baltimore's brick row houses in areas with few or no trees retain heat. Last summer, his team put sensors inside 7 neighborhood homes where the heat and humidity made it feel as hot as 119 degrees.
At night, as much as 20 degrees hotter inside than it was outside.
Heat that aggravates Deshia Moody's asthma.
It makes me a little lightheaded, dizzy.
Yeah, is heat just a physical issue or is it a psychological issue as well?
It's both, because you cannot stay cool. You can become frustrated. You can become, angry.
To reduce the heat, some cities are planting more trees in historically redlined areas. But with 2020 poised to be the hottest year on record, for many others like Deshia, relief is still elusive. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
When we come back, the remarkable story of what happened after this woman found a single dollar bill and the lives it's now changing. There's good news tonight about a gift from the heart and the lotto winner who gave it all away at a time when she needed it most. Like so many during this pandemic, Shatara Sims has been struggling. She'd lost her job and was barely getting by. But her luck suddenly changed last month when she and daughter Rakaya found a single dollar bill outside a Kansas City supermarket.
Well, my daughter said, "Mom, get a scratch off." We were at the bottom of the barrel. What's the worst that could happen? Lose $1?
But they didn't lose.
So I bought it and I won $100, and she just immediately said, "Let's give it to the officer who got shot. Let's give it to his wife."
And what did you think when she told you that?
I teared up, and then I agreed immediately.
That anonymous $100 gift to a critically injured officer was an enormous sacrifice for the single mom at a time when she so desperately needed the money. It was Shatara's way of giving back years after police from that same department helped her during a time of profound grief. Providing comfort and support after her 19-year-old daughter, Karaya, was murdered.
The detective that worked my case from the Kansas City Police Department, that man was a guardian angel for me in my time of need. He called around the clock. He came by to see me. People would say he did his job, but he did more than his job.
And you never forgot that?
No. How could I? No.
But her $100 gift didn't stay a secret for long. Kansas City, Missouri Police Sergeant Jacob Bakina tracked her down, telling her story on social media.
We were blown away almost immediately with responses and comments. People wanting to reach out said, "How can we get a hold of this woman so we can help her?"
The officers were so touched by her generosity during her own crisis, they started a GoFundMe for Shatara and her family, raising more than $156,000. Shatara, you didn't even want attention. You just wanted to do it for you and for your daughters.
Right. Your parents tell you all the time, be a blessing to someone and someone will be a blessing to you. I mean, it's true. It just comes back. Just do good and good will happen.
And that's NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Join me here tomorrow evening with the drastic changes one Florida school made to open back up. I'm Jose Diaz-Balart reporting. Thank you for the privilege of your time, and good night.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.